smelly feet. In particular, foot rot, athlete's foot. Another name for it, I think, ringworm of the foot, a whole bunch of names. And I can't be doing this alone. I have with me a GP from Kolobu, and that is Dr. Salamatu Ata Nantogma. How are you? Good morning.
Thank you. I'm good.
Okay, so first and foremost, just to understand exactly what is athlete's foot.
When we talk about athlete's foot, it's actually it's caused by a fungal infection of the feet. Fungal infections could affect any part of the body, from the scalp, the face, the rest of the body, the private parts. But the most common places it infects is the feet, okay? So when we talk about athlete's foot, it means that in medical terms you call it tinea pedis, but it's the same name that it's referred to as athlete's feet, and it's also referred to as foot rot. The reason why it's also referred to as athlete's feet is because it was more predominant among athletes because of their use of enclosed shoes, and also the fact that they used a lot of communal bathrooms during their changing over. So that's why it's called.
Cool. All right, we're going to take a look at this short video.
Itchy feet, athlete's foot. Flaking feet, athlete's foot. Burning feet, athlete's foot. Ever had the embarrassing situation where people in a room wrinkle their noses when you take off your shoes? Then you could be suffering from athlete's foot, commonly known as foot rot. Athlete's foot, also known as tinea pedis, can be extremely contagious, often infecting shower floors, gyms, socks and shoes, and anywhere else feet might contact. Athlete's foot is most often caused by the same fungus that causes ringworm, known as tinea. It can be spread by direct contact with an infected body part, contaminated clothing, often infecting shower floors, and anywhere else feet might contact. It's commonly found in public changing areas and bathrooms, dormitory-style living quarters, around locker rooms, and public swimming pools.
Okay, just took a quick look at that short video on athlete's foot, and if you were having your breakfast, apologies, kind of got my stomach turning a bit. All right, so doctor, looking at that, what are some of the causes, the main causes around the world? Because I'm just thinking, you said usually affected athletes because they were always wearing maybe trainers or running shoes. What about full shoes? And also, what's the difference with if you're wearing open toe shoes? Does that make it easier as well?
Well, the common, like I said, it's a fungal infection, and the commonest fungus that causes it is trichophytin rubrum. But there are some factors that make people predisposed to tinea pedis, that is the athlete's foot. And in some people, they naturally have excessive sweating in their palms and in their feet. In such people, they are more prone to have athlete's foot. In people who wear enclosed shoes for prolonged periods of time, we mentioned like an athlete, in some professions, people, the policemen, the soldiers, health workers who really need to wear closed shoes, they also are prone. And this is because when you wear enclosed shoes, then you are more prone to sweating, then you have wrinkling of the skin, then the fungus thrives better in such environments. And also in people who live in hot, humid, and then tropical areas
like Ghana.
Like Ghana. So those of us in this part of the world are more likely to get athlete's foot as compared to those in Europe. Those who use communal bathrooms, in our system, we have a lot of people who live in public, in compound houses, so they use the same bathroom. We have communal bathrooms, now public communal bathrooms that people can go and bath in every morning. We have a lot of our sports people in their changing rooms, in our swimming pools. Those who use communal bathrooms are more likely.
So when you walk on the ground and it's not clean,
and it's not clean,
it's infectious.
Yes, it's infectious.
Cool.
It's infectious. Then the other group of people too who are more prone to athlete's foot or tinea pedis are diabetics. And other people too who have a lowered immunity for one reason or the other are more prone to tinea PDs. And talking about, in general, it's better to wear open shoes if you have a problem with tinea pedis. But with women, we have all the open shoes come in all sorts of ways. Well, it's better if you have an open toe than if you have it completely closed as compared to. So,
okay, when you sort of mentioned, at least we were talking about it earlier on, Anaba, Benny and I, and there is this, I don't know if it's a misconception, but it's something that usually affects men. I mean,
yes,
most people don't. Do females really suffer from it as much as males do?
Yes, females do suffer from it, but it is known to be more common in men, and also the prevalence increases with age too. So it means it doesn't occur very frequently in children. And there are probably several reasons why men get it. Probably it could be because of the kind of shoes they wear constantly. Hygiene, foot hygiene. Probably women are more particular about their foot.
They don't wash between their toes
as compared to men and all that. So yes, it is more prone in men.
Okay, so how best is it for that one kid avoid it, just so that you're something that you don't end up suffering from it? What happens to avoid it?
Well, first of all, if to avoid it completely, it is foot hygiene is the first thing. And also, if you had to bath in a communal bathroom, you will want to wear a footwear. You don't want to be barefooted. But in people who are more prone to it, or people who have it, it is advised that you wear leather shoes. It is also advised that if you have it, then as much as possible, wear open sandals. If you really have to wear enclosed shoes, probably due to your profession, people who work in construction sites, you can't ask them to wear. If you need to wear, then it's important that you wear cotton socks when you are, so that it helps with the absorption of the sweat. It's important that you can use antifungal powders to disinfect the shoes, and also the drying powders on your feet before you put your feet
in socks and
into the shoes. Then it is advisable to have several pairs of shoes so that you are able to air the ones you use on the previous day. And even if you couldn't air the whole shoe, the lining in the shoes, it's advised that you remove them constantly and then get them clean. Of course, we shouldn't share shoes with other people, especially who are infected with tinea pedis and all that. So these are some of the ways.
But sometimes people don't know if they do have athlete's foot. So essentially, you could be sitting next to somebody, and it happened to me once. I was sitting next to a guy, and I could smell his feet from where I was sitting. Does that mean that that person automatically has it, or maybe they've just haven't washed their socks for?
Exactly.
Is it everybody that has smelly feet? Does it mean they've got athlete's foot, essentially?
Not exactly, because it could just be that you have poor foot hygiene. Your shoes are not aired regularly. So it's just the dampiness and all that is bringing out the smell. But there are several ways of detecting or several symptoms and signs that you have athlete's foot. The most common one is the one that presents with cracking and then wrinkling of the skin between the toes. And most of the time it's between the fourth and the fifth toe. That's the most common one. And it's usually just a little, probably crack or laceration around there, which may be itchy or not. So with that one, unless, of course, you have pain, a lot of people may ignore it. Yeah. And a lot of people, too, may just go to the pharmacy and pick over-the-counter drugs for those ones. But there are more severe types that cannot be ignored. Some people may present with, there are cracks all over the soles of the feet. So it has sort of like a mosaic appearance and all that.
We saw some pictures earlier and it looked really disturbing.
Yes, exactly. So you have cracks. And those who live in the very dry areas of Ghana actually experience those kind of cracks during the dry seasons. But when this is persistent, it is most likely tinea pedis and not just something that comes with the season. And other people, like we saw in the pictures, other people too will present with a lot of blistering and a lot of ulcers. And all that, And you realize that in those grades of tinea pedis, it's very difficult to ignore it. It's the ones that come with just a little fissure, like a little crack beneath the toe. That is very, easy to ignore, and it may be the one that will produce the smell.
Okay, doctor, I've heard that camphor, it's, I don't know if it's an old wives' tale, but most people say that if you use camphor, if you're suffering from smelly feet or athlete's foot, can help soothe the ailment. Is that true?
I think the use of camphor is the whole idea of the fact that it helps with the odor. Mm-hmm. So it's just the issue of putting it probably in the shoe to help with the odor, but it does not treat tinea pedis.
So the best thing is to...
The best thing most of the time, especially with those who have just a little cracking of the skin under the toes, most of them will use the antifungal powders we have on the market or antifungal creams we have on the market. So with those ones, they may not, and they resolve with it. But if it does not resolve, it is important that you see a doctor about it, especially if it is producing, you're having a lot of smell from your feet. That means it become a cosmetic issue. Or probably you are treating it and it's not stopping, because sometimes it may not just even be a fungal infection. Some people react to the material their shoes are made from. Okay. So you may think that it is a fungal infection, but it may just be an allergy to the material you are using. So it's important that you see, depending on what the presentation is.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Doctor.